Welcome back to the Becoming Witch, the interviews, the series. Today I am talking with Lily. And all her information, where you can find her on the internet, will be in the information section here on the video if you're interested, whatever she decides she wants to share with all of you out there. If you're following the interviews, you know that we are talking, or I am talking to witches who are going through or have gone through some sort of transition or stagnation within their practice. So that is why we're talking to Lily today. So Lily, to start us out, for those who don't know you, which is probably all my viewers, tell us how you came to be introduced to witchcraft, or what got you studying witchcraft or interested in witchcraft. What first sort of caught your attention?
So I think I started into it when I was around 28 after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses. And I think what drew me was that it's nature-based versus being in a location like the Kingdom Hall. A lot of times I would feel when I was sitting in there, I would try to look out the window and look at nature and feel like that I would feel much more connected to deity or the divine if I was outdoors versus being in a location surrounded by people. So I think maybe that was the very, very start, even before I had left that religion. After that, I'm not even sure like where I had first heard about Wicca, maybe from the internet. So I guess just like it being a nature-based religion is what drew me in.
Yeah. Being a Jehovah's Witness, isn't it? They talk, for those of you who have watched my channel for years know that I was once a Jehovah's Witness. They talk about Jehovah being the creator of everything. So yeah, you would think, connecting to nature would help you connect with the creator of everything. So that makes perfect sense to me why that sort of vibe kind of drew you in. So was Wicca the first sort of introduction to witchcraft for you?
Yeah. And I think, another part of it would be that, since Jehovah's Witnesses consider everything to be satanic. Oh, it's my cat.
I know,
right? Witnesses consider everything to be satanic. So it's kind of like I wanted to try as much stuff as I could that to kind of prove that they were wrong about, like something coming out for me. So, that was a big part of it, but a lot of it was trying to spend more time in nature and getting away from the group identity.
Yeah. Because if it's not of Jehovah God, then it's from Satan.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah. So how long ago was this happening for you? Like how long?
So that was, I was 28 and I'm 40 now. Okay. So I really was not into it for real long, maybe a year, maybe less than that, before I got, it was just too ingrained from leaving Witnesses. So then I left that for a while and studied and was into Buddhism for quite a while.
So you went from the Witnesses to kind of interested in Wicca and then left and went to Buddhism?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when did you get reintroduced, or when did you really become interested in witchcraft? From like how long after Buddhism, or how long ago did that happen?
So I would say it's been about 2 to 3 years at this point since I really started taking it seriously and studying it again.
So when did you adopt or identify yourself as witch? Was it during these last 2-3 years?
Yes. I consider February to be kind of my anniversary of um, declaring myself as a witch. But I mean, it was a very slow process at that point. I had done lots and lots of reading and studying prior to that. So just a couple years, I guess.
Did you have an established practice before you identified as witch, or was it all the learning about everything and studying it in a like an academic sense that really resonated with you and you said, oh, this is what I am, and then like active practice happened after?
Yeah, I would say that I would say that is true, because it was hard to just get to the point where I was practicing regularly.
Okay. So then when you think about your practice now, you know, because I'm assuming now you have an active practice, how would you categorize it or how would you describe it? Is it, you know, some people describe their practice as like they're a green witch, or some of them say, some of the people I've interviewed say, my practice is, you know, a lot about divination practice. How would you describe your craft?
I don't like to be put in a category. I guess, can I say eclectic?
Sure.
but I guess divination plays a really huge part in my practice.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very much into reading tarot.
So I guess, and like I was going to say, another like other like people say that, you know, they're Wiccan, you know, they are strictly Wiccan, so it's very ritualistic for them. Some of the witches I've interviewed are not Wiccan at all. They do more folk magic type thing. So I guess, you know, I'm not necessarily looking for you to label yourself, but I'm trying to get a sense, and the people who are watching this, try to get a sense of what your witchcraft would look like, considering that everybody's craft is very unique to them. But sometimes some of us have a focus, you know, some of us may do healings, some people may never do any type of malediction or hexes or anything like that. So I mean, is there anything that you would not do, or do you do, I mean, are you more ritualistic or more intuitive?
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I would not call myself Wiccan.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm very results oriented. So I want to do what works. And not to say that I don't have an ethical code, because I do, but I wouldn't consider myself to be Wiccan.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that is a very structured, it is very ritualistic, it is very structured, and I kind of have my own way of doing stuff, but I wouldn't say it is the Wiccan way of doing it.
Right. So, I understand. Are there things or practices that you wouldn't do, or are not interested in doing?
Give me an example.
Or things that just don't resonate with you. So, for example, I interviewed a witch who said, you know, angels and demons and saints, that kind of way of doing witchcraft, which would probably include voodoo or that kind of stuff that would incorporate that just doesn't interest her. I had another witch that I interviewed say that they would never do malediction or curses or hexes. You know, is there anything like that you just wouldn't do?
If you're talking about like trying to summon certain spirits, no, I wouldn't do that. But like, I'm not going to say I would never hex somebody.
Okay, that's fine too. That is perfectly, you know me. You know me, Lily. I don't judge. I don't judge. Do you practice alone, or do you practice with others? What?
I practice with my cats.
With your cats?
Yeah.
No, that's not alone. Those are great. They're great magical partners. So like if we were to like take a peek on a typical magical day or a day that you're going to practice magic or do a spell, what does that typically look like in your magical practice?
So if we're talking about like how I would go about doing a spell, like, is that
Like,
what you're asking?
so say it's a day that you are planning to do a spell. Today is tonight on the full moon, or maybe it's not a full moon. Maybe you practice during another time. But I am going to do a spell. I'm going to do a magical working tonight. What does that day look like? Is there preparation? What would that look like? Just again, so we can kind of get a sense of what your practice is like, what your witchcraft looks like.
Okay. So I would like to say that ideally, if I'm going to do a spell, it's because I've done a whole lot of inner work, a lot of journaling, to really get to the root of what's going on and what's really needed before doing a spell. And then I would say it probably takes way more preparation before doing it than actually doing the spell.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, I've been working with setting up and doing crystal grids. And I mean, I don't know if you consider that a spell, but like having each crystal represent something and then building up the energy with it. I mean, I guess I would kind of consider that a spell. I don't know, but for that, I didn't like doing any circle casting. I just kind of intuitively picked the stones and decided what they were going to represent, and then just kind of did it. So there wasn't really like a whole lot of preparation with that. But like if it's on a full moon and it's going to have, if there's a lot of emotional attachment to it, and depending on how much, I would say that if I'm going to be doing a spell, because I've done spells with ruins, if I'm going to do a spell with ruins, I need to make sure, because in my experience, they've been very powerful. I need to make sure that what I'm asking for, I really want. So mostly just a lot of checking in with myself and knowing exactly what outcome that I want before doing it. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does, most certainly. So you do a lot of internal preparation. Do you do like ritualistic baths or cleansings? Do you always cast circle, or is that sometimes?
Like if I was going to do a spell with ruins, I definitely would cast a circle.
Okay.
I don't do ritual baths. I do like a cleansing and like sage.
Okay.
That way, but I don't. And I think maybe the reason why I don't is because after I do a ritual, I'm normally like smoky. And I need a shower after that.
Okay.
And if I'm outside, I might be like hot and sweaty. So
Okay. Well, that makes sense too, right?
yeah, but I don't do the whole ritual bath and shower thing.
Okay. No judgment here. You know me. No judgment. So because I'm talking to witches who have gone through transitions or stagnation, can you describe what sort of led up to your transition and stagnation? Like, what was it that sort of led you to that, and what created or motivated the transition or stagnation?
I think that stagnation, which is just something that you just kind of have to work at constantly, because I mean your mental health, responsibilities, just life in general kind of gets in the way and kind of drains it. And being on a spiritual path to me is kind of the same as being an artist. It's something that nobody really cares. I mean, since I practice alone and I'm not like open with tons of people, I guess maybe this will change that, but I don't know very many people in person that are on the same path. So it's something that you just kind of have to constantly work to keep, you know, keep momentum going. So for me, like really helping with that has been getting a mentor. It's been one of those things that's helped a lot. Just to have someone to talk to that can give you different ideas of what you can do, to kind of check in and give you little gentle nudges and just be, you know, kind of someone that you can bounce ideas off of. Um,
So for you, your stagnation, what happened to create the stagnation in the first place?
um, I think just feeling drained, and also not really knowing like what direction I was going in, maybe. Um,
Was
so
there anything happening in your mundane life that might have caused the stagnation? Were you dealing with anything?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, everyday stresses are always, you know, something that can kind of lead you to stagnation because, I mean, everyday life, working and being a parent and all that, just sometimes you don't have anything, you don't have anything left, you know. So
Right.
self-care is really important, and making sure that you are putting yourself first some of the time, you
Well,
know.
was that what led to your stagnation? Was it the everyday stresses in life? Were you
I think, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
not knowing, and you said not knowing sort of where you were headed, not sure what to focus on. So it almost sounds like, just from listening to you, that there was this unclarity or this almost like a chaos as to which way should I go, what should I do, and being drained, of course, is going to, like you said, being drained of personal energy, not having enough to, especially if you're not sure where you're headed, and if you don't, and again, no judgment here, but if I sometimes think that Wicca, because it is so structured, very similar to Jehovah's Witnesses, because it's so structured, even if you're stressed out from your mundane, everyday work, mother, wife, or partner, children, pets, all that, you can
Yeah.
have all that. But if there's a structure already in place, you have to go to Kingdom Hall Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays. You just know that's where you go. You show up. You have to read your watchtower and answer the questions or read the Bible stories or whatever it is that you're doing. There's such a structure that even if you're overwhelmed in your mundane life, you don't have to think about what you have to do. It's right there and set before you. But
Yeah.
when you have a personal practice that's really more intuitive, you may be more connected to energetically to your practice. But if there isn't that set structure, it can be a little overwhelming to try to then come up with, okay, I know I need to do this, or I feel the need to even do a meditation. Well, then what meditation am I going to do today? Well, maybe I
Yeah.
need to ask the gods. Oh, then I have to sit down at my altar and ask the gods. Oh my God, I don't know if I have enough energy to do that. Oh, and now I have to find it's almost like it's not set. You're not spoon fed what you're supposed to do. So it does
Yeah.
take more energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then having the uncertainty, you said, what is it that got you into sort of getting back into it and stirring up the personal energy to get back into a practice? What did it for you?
Um, well, being really specific about what I wanted to get out of it. And I mean, I think that was one of the first things that you asked me as my mentor is like, what do you want to get out of this? So being really specific, because if you don't have a goal, you don't know if it's working or not. And
Mm.
then also breaking down, like I think that I would get really overwhelmed with trying to plan out ritual or full moon or um, just any type of ritual. I'd get really overwhelmed with it. So just like breaking it down into small increments. I know that seems like a very elementary thing, but to me, it was a big deal. Like coming up with a small thing to do, and then getting like everything ready ahead of time. Because I'm like pretty scatterbrained, and have some ADHD going on. So that was a helped quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, again, it's sort of like that. The point of focus, what am I going to do? That definitely makes sense, especially if you're going more intuitive and that set structure isn't there. With Wicca, there is a certain way to do things and you do it that way every single time. So if you're feeling scattered, just open that book of shadows and pull out that ritual for Beltane. It's going to be there and you're going to follow it. But being more intuitive or wanting a more simplistic practice, what is it you want from Beltane? What is it you want to do? And I don't know why I came up with Beltane, but whatever. So yeah, that makes sense to me. So what does your witchcraft, or what does your practice sort of look like now that you're getting back into it? Clearly it's going to be a little more simplistic for you, right?
Yeah, I think that I let go of a lot of the perfectionistic aspects of it, and trying to make everything be perfect and be like by the book. And so even like when I'm reading books, I might have like an argument with the author while I'm reading, and like put little notes off. And it's like, I feel like now I'm more able to read it and then think to myself, it's like, okay, well, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to do that. But then just take, like what I can from it and then combine it with other things. And then I guess like instead of trying to planning way more ahead helps quite a bit, definitely. But
is there a difference between when you first started and today? Is your practice different? I mean, were you doing full-blown rituals before?
For a period of time I was.
Okay.
Yeah, for a period of time. But I don't feel like I ever really took off with it.
Yeah.
So
why do you think that is? Was it too structured? Was it too much? Did you get too lost in your own head?
Yeah, I think for all of the reasons that I mentioned. Yeah. And I don't know. I guess I feel like a spiritual path really does take time to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah. No,
and for me, it's almost like the way I do things, I almost have to do it wrong first. So. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, knowing what doesn't work will help you identify what will work. That totally makes sense to me. And sometimes we don't know what we want until we experience what we don't want, right? And that goes for everything in life,
Yeah.
We already kind of covered what your typical, practice looks like. I mean, we sort of covered what you do prior to going to your ritual or your magical working, a lot of internal work for you. Are there things or is there advice that you could suggest to other witches that may be going through a period of stagnation? What worked for you to get out of that, to get out of your own way, to actually start practicing? Could you give some advice to witches that may be going through a similar thing?
I think the biggest thing for me really is just to allow things to be quiet. Like especially now with social media and the news and stuff, it's really easy. You can turn the TV on and the news is just going nonstop. So just get to a place where you can have like complete silence or as close to silence as possible. That way you can hear messages coming in. You can hear positive things and the good things in nature. You can listen to the trees and the air and pay attention to the sky and stuff, and not just try to get away from sensory. For me, a lot of sensory stuff comes in, and probably for most people it is. If you work and then you have kids, it's like you could easily get up from the minute you get up, have someone talking in your ear or someone, you know, in your face, like constantly from the moment you get up until you go to bed. So find that time to where you can be by yourself, and doesn't even have to be like serious meditation or anything. Just a quiet place where you can just not have any sensory input.
Yeah.
From other people.
I mean, if we really think about the witch's pyramid, to be silent is a big part of that, right? I mean, that means, you know, silence, actual silence, not even trying to fill the void with your own voice, but actually that stillness and that silence. And I agree, it doesn't have to be set meditation. It's just unplug and just be aware of yourself. I mean, how can we really know what we really think or really feel if we don't take a moment to listen and feel, if we have all that constant input, like you said? That makes perfect sense to me. That's really good advice, Lily.
Yeah.
It is really good advice.
I mean, I think the answers are already within you. I mean, I think that you kind of already know, but if you don't give yourself a chance to answer the questions, then
you'll never know the answer.
You'll never know.
You'll never know. So true. Thank you for talking with me today and for sharing your thoughts and your input. I know you were a little unsure, but I think this was really good. And I think you have a lot of wonderful things to share with my viewers. And I'm sure someone will get some help and some advice from you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you all for watching the series. And as always, I love you. Blessed be everyone.